to Relwof Media
Yes, sir.
Sports Show. I'm your host, Harmonie Lewis, aka Harm. That's what you can call me. The man to my left is
Chris McCullian.
and we're going to bring you a couple of interesting topics in the world of sports. Recently, Mr. Steve Nash decided to come out and say that he is only coming back because he technically loves the game. But let's be real about it. The man came out and said, hey, I'm going to make $9 million next year.
Word.
I'm trying to get paid.
I want some money.
And I mean, to be totally honest with you, that is one of the most honest
I appreciate it.
comments that I've ever heard a sportsman say. And I don't like the fact that the media wants the truth, but they cannot handle the truth.
Exactly.
They say that they want the honesty.
All right.
But honestly speaking, if you want honesty, then you want LeBron James to go out in the crowd, wink at somebody, and then pretend to say that, oh, I'm not trying or thinking about doing something with this woman.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing they're talking about. So, like, Steve Nash could get criticized for that. I don't understand why what David Chappelle used to say, when keeping it real goes wrong.
Exactly. Exactly.
What are you thinking? Because that's what my wavelength is.
I'm thinking I appreciate it. I appreciate somebody finally, after how many years has the NBA been in existence? Finally somebody comes out and says, hey, I want to get paid. Yes, I'm coming back because you know what? I'm not retiring. Not even I'm coming back because he's probably not going to play. He's going to be hurt or one of those things. He says, I'm coming back because I want the money. I would do the same thing. I don't blame him. You know what I'm saying? Like, now you finally are saying what everybody else is thinking. I want the money. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
But then you get the label of you being a selfish player. In the NFL, I don't know how that works. Which is kind of like the unfortunate slave league, where you kind of like indentured servants until they decide to cut you.
Exactly.
Like Mr. Steve Smith stayed with the organization for like a decade and change, and they promote you all the time, but yet you're now a distraction.
Yeah.
So now we gonna kick you off the team when finally they made it back to the playoffs, and the last time he was successful and went to the playoffs, he was the only guy that was left on the team.
Right.
Back when they went to the Super Bowl back in 02?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Come on, man. You can't, like, certain guys like that. You can't be honest now. But later and long in life, when you're about to get kicked out the door, you try to be honest like that. It's not going to work. AKA Mr. T.O.
Yeah.
When he was on and shining and saying whatever the hell he wants, he was okay as long as he was getting his money.
Yeah.
When he left the Eagles, got that 7-year, $49 million contract, which was the highest at the time.
Right.
He was unhappy. What happened? He got cut, suspended, whatever you want to call it. Went to the Cowboys, got his nice little 3-year, $25 million raise.
That money.
He's getting that money. But I don't understand. Like,
I think
for me, I don't understand why it's so hard.
I think what happens too is it's a societal thing, right? Like, so you got the whole 1%ers against the 99%. So when you hear somebody talk about money, it automatically becomes a touchy topic. So when you hear somebody, I'm just gonna play the devil's advocate for a second. When you hear somebody like Steve Nash, who's made millions upon millions of dollars, say I'm doing it for the money, it rubs people the wrong way because it's like, how much more money do you need? Now, when you have a lot of money, you spend a lot of money. So I think what happens is, in our societies, we think, oh, they rich, so they don't need money no more. That's not the case. If you got you a $100 million house, how much money do you think you're going to be spending on this house? So he needs to get his money. I feel that. Honestly, I would do like I said. I'd be the same exact way. If there's $9 million or $19 million on the table, I'm not going to let it sit there and say, you know what, I don't want it. I'm good. Thank you. Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that?
It's funny because baseball players do it all the time because they have guaranteed contracts.
Right.
Alex Rodriguez is going to play till he's 42 and a half
Yeah.
because he's going to be making
Yeah.
27 plus mil a year.
Yeah.
That's why.
That don't make no damn sense. Did I say damn?
That's why I think that's why I think the Yankees, they actually made a smart decision in not signing Cano, but they also made dumb moves in the nice little Ellsbury deal, and they spent like crazy. They just didn't spend crazy for like a decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
But honestly, like if you had a situation where Steve Nash decided to do this when he was, let's say, what, 25?
He was younger.
Instead of 40 years old, I don't know if he would have been able to be honest.
That honest about it.
Because
He's on his way out.
GMs are going to look like, is he about the money?
Yeah.
Or is he about playing?
But let's be real though. It's always about the money.
It's about the money. It's about the money to a certain extent. Like with Melo, it's about the money because he would have signed the same contracts regarding like LeBron and Wade, except that all this losing has gotten him to start thinking about, oh crap, I can't lose like this for the rest of my career.
Right.
That's why Dolan, which I think was in a panic move, signed Phil in the first place. Because Carmelo, he can't say he about the money no more. Because before he said, yo, I gotta get that 85 million straight.
Yeah.
Now he can't.
I don't think the media knows what they're asking for when they want a player to be honest. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think that not only the media, society as a whole, I don't think we're ready for people to be completely honest. This is why, not to get off the topic, politicians lie. Politicians lie and they're politicians because we as people can't handle the truth. Not to make this a political debate, but the one thing I appreciate about Bloomberg was when they said, hey, can you lower taxes? He said, no, I can't do that. We have too much of that. There's too much of that. I can't lower taxes. I appreciated that honesty, but I don't think that we as a society are ready for our sports figures to come out and be honest and say, look, this city stinks. I hate Cleveland. There's nothing to do here, so I'm not going to play there. Nobody says stuff like that. Or when they go to a team, like when Tio went to the Bills. Oh, this is America's this other America's team. Like, come on, what was you really thinking? Damn, I'm on the Bills. Like, this is the end of my career. This organization's terrible.
He was really going to turn off on the
Bills. He was really going to say that. Like, come on, we're not ready for our sports figures to be honest and tell us what they really think and how they really feel.
All right, well, I appreciate all those thoughts, but we're going to go on to our next topic, which is baseball and why they glorify their players so much. I don't understand why they glorify the players as much as they do, but I also think that that's a reason why women are kind of turned off by the sport. I think that's one reason. I'm gonna let you get there. I'm gonna let you get there. My other reason was, I don't think when women watch a sport who are not into the specific sport, I think they're watching for the look.
Right.
Also, because when you look and you see basketball players, you see their skin. You see the physique. When you watch football, even though they're wearing pads, they're still in tights. A lot of them, you're still seeing the guns and the arms. When you watch baseball, even though in football you got big guys too, you wearing a bunch of baggy stuff, man. I mean, like, let's be real about it, because I did ask a couple of women.
Right now.
I did ask a couple of women, and they're not as patient when it comes to sports and understanding rules and stuff like that. So when they're watching baseball, they're usually bored, unless they're at a game and they're drinking a beer and they're eating a hot dog and they're like, yeah,
most girls are bored. Most girls are bored with
working.
sports, period, though. Like, girls are usually bored when it comes to sports, period. And here's why I disagree. I think that when a woman sees football, it's violent. And women aren't violent, right? Women are more nurturing. So when they see football, they see all the violence. I think that when it comes to baseball, it's an easier sport for women to watch. When you go to a baseball game, there are tons and tons of women. Like, if you're a single dude, I know when I used to go, I go to a lot of Mets games because I'm a Met fan. I go to a Met game and I would see groups of women. When I go to other sports, in basketball, they're usually with a man. It's usually a date thing. In football, unless you're in the South, because Southern women love football. But unless you're in the South, it's the same thing. It's always a spouse event. In baseball, you'll see just groups of women there to watch the sport. And I go to a lot of Met games and I see it.
My thing is, you see that group there because, let's face it, baseball games, especially Mets games, you're gonna have like $5 seats, man. And, like, let's be real about it. Like, you go on StubHub right now, you can get a ticket like for an August game. Little August, like, oh, just a regular game. Like, if you're in the area, hell, let's get like $5 seats or $1 seats. Like, even in some Yankee games, they got like $10 seats. But unfortunately, Yankees fans have more. But Yankees fans, they do like certain games, like when they can't sell. That's what actually happens because you end up having times where they have the certain. You have the certain times where they can't sell tickets, and they don't have a certain they don't have the certain demographic of people watching enough. So that's why you see that certain people go there just for the price. It's not necessarily you're enjoying yourself, and plus, like baseball, they don't have a time limit. You could go there, get drunk, wake up, and the baseball game will still be on.
That's true. I'm not gonna lie. Baseball is a long sport, but it's a game for those who have patience and just want to sit and relax and not have to be so high strung. I think I said that before.
Yeah, but you think women are patient?
Yeah.
When it comes to watching something on TV, but they don't
maybe
like.
the latter part of my comment. Women are more for the less high strung aspect of the sport, where it's not so scary. When like a woman's not into a dude getting his head knocked off, like they're not really into that.
Well, that's why the NFL stopped that.
That's true. But as they say, chicks do love the long ball,
which is taken out of the sport because of steroids now. Let's be real, it's not there no more.
You got a point. Backtrack a bit onto the point of why the athletes are so highly held is because baseball is an individualistic sport. Baseball is a team sport, but it's about individual play. You're only as good as your next starting pitcher, and you're only as good as the guy hitting against the starting pitcher. So it's a sport where it's about individual players, and it's more about what they can do to help their team. So when Derek Jeter is who Derek Jeter is, he becomes such a huge figure. You know what I'm saying? Because we've seen Derek Jeter with 2 outs and the bases loaded in Game 7, Jeter come up with the hit. Not a scheme, not a coach's thought, not something that everybody did. It was Jeter who did it. So you hold him to a high place. Same thing, vice versa when it comes to a pitcher. You know what I'm saying? You've seen Tom Seaver, and you've seen Dwight Gooden, and you've seen all of these guys who mano a mano throw that one pitch, Adam Wainwright with the freaking curveball that ended by damn. Anyway,
that is exciting for a woman to look at like, ooh, what is that? Like, how can you see a curveball? Curveball doesn't even show well on TV unless they replay it. You're not really seeing it unless it goes that way. Like, what did he do? In football, you can see, wow, that was a long pass. And like basketball, you can see a dunk, and then like it go work that way.
My
like
wife
I
asks
don't
a lot
see
of questions
that.
when it comes to football. She don't get it, and I try, and I can't explain it well because there's so many damn rules.
Well, I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree because I think the visual is much better when it comes to that. We're gonna go into a different topic here that I think is one topic that's really not discussed to length, like I think it should be. So recently, in this past NFC Championship game, Richard Sherman was called a thug by certain parts of the media and certain people due to the fact that he went off in a rant.
Right.
And it's very interesting because it's a thin line when you mention in the word thug and then associating that with the African American male. Now, there was a time period where basketball was actually called a thug league, and that's because people were wearing like hip hop clothing. Because unfortunately, when you mention the word hip hop, you are speaking to a specific race. It's not to mention that guys who are into hip hop. Not to say that there's not other races, because you have Eminem,
Yeah.
you have like Machine Gun Kelly and those other guys.
Right.
But once you mention hip hop, you think of a certain race. So then,
with us. Yeah.
when there's a lot of hip hop tendencies when you go into the NBA, because they use that in a lot of their metaphors.
Yeah.
So people associated that together. But the problem is, why is that not mentioned in other sports?
Yep.
When hockey players fight each other.
It's welcome. That's what it's all about.
I mean, like,
people go to see the fights.
Like I don't necessarily hear a Thug League as much as I would hear it in the NBA, NFL. I love the NFL.
Right.
They hit people hard all the time.
Right.
But you don't hear it as much as basketball.
You could hit us up with questions or comments for anything you want on relwolfmedia.com. I'm your host, Harmony Lewis, a.k.a. Harm. You could hit up Christian. You could hit me up on thesportsnation.com. You could hit me up on the Sports Fusion at Twitter. And we appreciate you taking us the time, listening to us yakking it up, and we'll do it for you real soon. This is Harm. Later, people.